Hello there. My name is Sister Anticipation of the rain, which really shouldn't be blamed. I am part of the Convent of Dunedin, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence in Edinburgh. Hello. I am joining you here today to talk about etiquette and online dating involving such apps as Growler, Grindr, Tinder, Blender, and other such like. A guide to the perfect use, suggested practice, and other such wonderment. We shall start with topics such as gauging expectations and different strokes for different folks, and then end on blocking people if things don't go too well. So, without further ado, we are part of the 21st century, where we can hunt from our bedrooms, our toilets, our living rooms, even when sat next to mum and dad without them even knowing. With this comes a new set or an old set of etiquette rules to make sure that you and the person that you're communicating with get the best out of the experience. And we'll start off with online etiquette and gauging expectations. Now, you may get somebody, and I'm sorry if I don't know any of the other apps that are out there, but I'm just using with what I've experienced and what I've heard about. But you may have a few people who start a conversation by flashing a picture of their genitals. And you might think to yourself, classy. But remember that somebody else might think, game on. Because different people have different expectations of what they're going to get online. Now, this could be a quick hookup, a date, or something a little bit more romantic. So remember that these people have this agenda in mind. And as you're out there, so somebody else like you is out there too. Now we move on to different strokes for different folks. You're going to get a lot of different people who are into a lot of different things, and it's always good to understand those TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. If somebody talks to you about CBT, I can bet a pretty penny that it's not about psychology or cognitive behavioral therapy. No, they're talking about cock and ball torture. So make sure that if you don't understand something, that you make sure you're on the same page as the other person. Otherwise, you'll be turning up for a day at M&S, and they'll be turning up for S&M. It's always good to make sure that you're on the right track when meeting wonderful people to do wonderful things, and that we're all different in such a way. And remember that everyone who's out there is human. There is an old expression that my brother Bimbo tells me about the internet, which is, nobody knows that you're not a dog. So you might not be one of those, but you can safely assume, apart from for some, there are some bots on some of these things, so you should be wary of those. And if somebody asks you to vote on a website about a competition of beauty, then maybe block. But you should treat everyone with decorum and be treated how you would like to be treated. If somebody says to you, hello, in the street, you normally say, hello, back. If somebody flashes their genitals, if you're not happy with that, block away. And I'll get on to blocking later. But it's about having a discussion with this person. Pause this so I don't have to redo the entire film. Ha ha ha! It's about making sure that you're clear with this person. You never know the mental health of the person that you're going to be talking to. You don't know if they have learning difficulties or hardships with talking with other people. So if somebody says that you're gorgeous and you return that compliment with a, oh my God, I would never date you in 1,000 years, you will make somebody upset. So try and be understanding, even if that person is not your type. Because when somebody compliments you, they are complimenting you. And think about how you would feel if you complimented somebody and they insulted you in return. It's not a nice feeling, as I'm sure you'll agree. So make sure that you're ready to just be polite to somebody, because you never know who's an employer. And when you're seamless, if you are nasty to somebody with a faceless profile and you go into that job interview and they say, Yeah, I've seen this person before and I know how they act online. Maybe they won't get the job. Remember, there are so many things when everybody's on the same level that just make those jobs, poof, disappear. So always be vigilant because you never know what's around the corner, do you? And so we come to letting them down gently. Okay, so you've been talking to this person and you've kind of explained what you want. You want a relationship. He wants you to sit on his hand, and or they want to sit anyone wants you to sit on their hand, and you're not into that. That's not your cup of tea. You're more a glass of water kind of person, and so you have to let them down gently. Now, I'll let you into my grind of life. I always say it's a fault of mine not to recognize the beauty in you, and it is. I honestly believe this, that I can't help not finding everyone attractive. It's just something that I have to deal with, and I wish I did because it would make life so much simpler, don't you think? Just to be able to say, "Oh my goodness, you have attraction for me. I have attraction for you." Marriage? Obviously don't go judge the speed of your advances. I mean, talk for a week, talk for a minute. I'll lead you to pick the speed at which you're comfortable with. However, do let somebody down gently because somebody does find you attractive. When somebody starts a conversation, it might not just be gym buddy. It might not be network. It might be something a little bit more. Maybe the prerequisites to a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner might just be a wonderful 1 hour session. Who never know? You never know. You never know. So be polite because you don't know, do you? Multimedia styles, different camera angles. Ooh. And now we move on to, well, everything's going spiffingly. I mean, you like them, they like you. Maybe you've swapped a picky. But remember, if you're going to get drunk and go online, maybe not. Maybe you shouldn't. Because as much as people can't consent when they're drunk, you might send a few pictures which you kind of regret. Or maybe you don't, and maybe that's the start of a great adventure by letting go of your inhibitions. However, make informed choices because you might be communicating in a drunk state your intent, which you're not able to sign off when you're sober, and that may make things very difficult. So avoid these situations by doing things sober. Chemsex is another thing that I'll talk about another time. Be aware that it happens on any scene. These lessons are completely universal from everyone who's using these things. Chemsex is a thing that happens. Do what you're comfortable with. You'll get no judgment from me. But bear in mind that some people may want to do drugs when they meet with you. Gauge these things, manage, there goes my light, manage expectation to avoid disappointment. But good practice is making sure that you meet up in a public place, that you tell a friend you're going to meet somebody, to make sure that you get real photos. Maybe ask for a person doing the peace sign to show that it's a real photo. If you go to meet up with somebody, maybe wait a few minutes in a public space. Let them come into the space if you're not feeling confident. See that they are who they say they are. Certain precautions like this can make sure that you're safe when you're meeting up with somebody from the internet. And from that point, if that goes well, you never know. You might even get a husband, a partner, a life partner, a good night, a wife, or just a close friend, really. Because things can turn into cuddles as much as they can turn into a tumble in the hay. And if things really get desperate, well, not desperate, but things get out of hand. If anybody abuses you or says hideous things or threatens you, most of these apps have functions where you can report them. Just get to know your app. There's probably a help option on these things. If not, there's got to be a YouTube video. I mean, for life, there are YouTube videos. So go and find those. And if everything goes to mess, block this person. I mean, it can be the kindest thing to do to a person if they're really intense and really going after you. Block. There's not much shade taken over it. And remember, that's a square that you could actually have, or, a swipe that you could have for somebody that you do want to talk to. This is an old nun's recap on the etiquette. And I think if you follow these rules, you can't go far wrong. Thank you for your patience. It's very much appreciated. And remember, when you do have a prop. Do have a prop. I had a prop. It was condoms. If you do meet up with somebody and everything goes tickety-boo, then do use protection if you would. Would you do that for me? I hope you would. If you don't, I don't judge you. But I'd like to think that you'd try and avoid some of the things you can catch. Because remember, not everybody's honest about what they have. But some people are. So as much as you may find people are dishonest on the internet, the majority of people tend to be honest. And having experience that goes about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, gotta say, 95% are all right. 95% were all right. And that's quite a number which I'm not going to discuss with you. Either way, bear in mind what I've said and have an absolutely glorious time out there finding the person of the moment or of your dreams or the hereafter. I've been Sister Anticipation of the Rain, which really shouldn't be blamed, part of Dunedin, the Convent of Edinburgh, with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, talking to you and hoping you indulge perpetually. Be safe and be happy.